Hi, everyone. This is Jacqui Cooper with Crypto Mom 2 Talk Show, and I want to welcome everyone to this episode. And today I have an individual who I connected with on a variety of social media platforms, and we're going to be talking about the trends in the NFT space, the non-fungible token space, and a whole host of other ways that this blockchain creativity is impacting individuals, companies, and just the world, because NFTs are really taking over on a lot of levels that you might not realize. But before we get into that topic, the nitty gritty of the topic, I want to share with everyone, in case you're new to Crypto Mom 2, a little bit more about me and why I started the talk show. I got started in my crypto journey just a few years ago. I had been curious about crypto way before I had heard about Bitcoin, and thought when I went, 13 years ago when it first got started, that, oh, it's nice, it's not going to last. And obviously I was wrong. And now I'm actually a Bitcoin miner. So, again, we all evolve, including, the space that we're on, the blockchain. It's evolving daily and constantly. And Crypto Mom, I started so I could journey in this world and interview people, and also document my personal journey and share with you the ups and downs that I've had, and with more ups and less downs. But I wanted you to understand how I was learning, because I'm also, besides being a lawyer, I'm an educator and I'm a mom. So I know, as an educator, in order for me to be able to teach it to others, I have to actually do the struggle and learn how to open up a wallet, or learn how to create an NFT, and then be able to understand the vocabulary, because there's a lot of terminology whenever you get into a new area. So first of all, I do want to say that these shows are not financial advice. There's always risk involved in anything that you invest in or do, even digital assets. So definitely do your own research. But today, I'm really excited about learning more about NFTs, because I learned about them last April. And I got started because of the fact that my aunt is 75 years old and an artist. I wanted to help her, and I also wanted to help create NFTs to raise funds for some of the charities that I volunteer with. And in looking for experts in the field, I came across Arvin, and he's going to talk more about what NFTs are, how, if you are a creator of an NFT, how you can actually market your NFT. And, if you're a business and you're thinking about branding, using NFTs, there's a lot of major companies right now that are using NFTs to create a whole new market space. So, but I want to first hop over. Arvin, thank you so much for being on. I'm so excited to have you. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Share where people can find you. And for those that are listening, we're either on the talk show side or on the YouTube side. If you don't have paper and pen, just come back to the episode, and all the links so you can reach Arvin and myself will be built into the blog below. So Arvin, go ahead.
Perfect. Yeah. So I got into marketing in 2012, and worked with a lot of different companies, a small business all the way to public companies, Fortune 500 companies. And then in 2016, good friend of mine, Nick, he introduced me to cryptos. And so basically what happened was we would go out a lot and just hanging out. And then he was on his phone all the time. And then one day I asked him, I was like, hey, what is the deal with this? Like, what are you doing? And he told me that he was working a 9-to-5 job, and he's not a typical entrepreneur, but he didn't have a business, and he just sold everything he had, including his car, and then turned it into Bitcoins at that point. This is 2016. And to me, that was crazy, but I encouraged him. Obviously, I was like, if you're really passionate about it, go for it,
Yeah.
And so I didn't make much out of it. I kind of wasn't even like following to see, okay, what's the price of Bitcoin or anything. And then a few years later, I gave him a call, and I go, so Nick, how is work? And he goes, what work? I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, he's just no longer working. He's just like traveling around the world. He has that freedom to do whatever he wants. And so that was my intro to crypto, where I was like, okay, this is obviously a serious thing where it can create financial freedom for people. And because this was a really good friend of mine, I also just was, I guess I felt like personally close to the concept. And then back into 2020, I believe, I started learning about NFTs. Now, for your listeners, NFTs have been around since 2015, but I learned about them in 2020. And, I started like my intro to NFT was actually a friend of mine, also another friend of mine. We were working on a project and then he told me about it. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. And then back of my mind, I just always had this thing where I was like, okay, crypto came along. I didn't do anything. Maybe there's going to be something else where I can do something.
Yeah,
And so,
exactly.
when I learned about it, this time I didn't research it. Weirdly enough, I didn't actually go too into details of things. I just went and bought a bunch of NFTs because I thought, what could go wrong. And then so I bought a bunch of NFTs, and I mean a lot actually, but yeah. So I bought a bunch of NFTs. Didn't know even what NFTs are. Like if you were to ask me what NFTs are, I had no idea. And then what happened was like I ended up looking at these prices for the NFTs. Again, I was complete newbie, but I was seeing the prices were going up. And to me, that was very interesting. Like I thought before that, I've already invested in stock and actually working in public companies. I was actually invested in some of those companies I was doing investor relationship marketing for. And so I already had some experience in investing, but it was never like NFTs, where in a matter of a week or two, you see your prices just like shoot up like crazy. And so obviously it got my attention. And then I started doing more. There was some NFTs I would like buy for, let's say, I've done some. I actually did lately one where I bought for like 500, sold it for 10K. And so obviously, the margins are just really, really good, right? So anyways, so that was my intro to NFTs, just getting into actually buying and selling NFTs. Up until October 2021, when an artist from Italy, he approached me and he wanted to sell out his NFT collection. Now, this guy didn't have a community. He wasn't well known. He was a painter, and he just had 10 digital artwork. And so nothing like the 10,000 or 5,000 collection size, nothing like the typical NFT collections. And then also, he didn't even have a Discord. On his Twitter, he had probably about 1,000 followers. And he just wanted to sell out his NFTs. So I didn't know the rules and regulations of NFTs. So I just listened to him, and I was like, hey, so I know marketing, and I know it really well. You tell me like what we need to like do as far as like reaching your audience and where they are, and then I will do it. I will help you sell out. So anyways, we ended up doing Twitter ads, and this guy sold his entire collection in a week. And then to me, that was my proof of concept where I thought, okay, so there's definitely a room for someone coming in and doing marketing in this industry. And then I happen to have a lot of experience finding investors online because of working with public companies. And so I realized, I was like, okay, this is a great opportunity. And then I literally had like a gig up, bunch of places where I just started telling people, be like, hey, I do NFT marketing. If someone wants, I can help them. And then in that month, I worked with about 100 NFT projects. And then since then, I've worked with somewhere around 400 NFT projects. We've had many of them actually hit top 40 in the world. I had one just recently hit #1 trending on OpenSea, #1 trending on ICY.tools. Some of the sellouts have been anywhere from like 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 37 minutes, 20 hours, 24 hours. So it's been great. There are many projects that are actually coming out every day. So I want to be that person actually helping a lot of them.
I love what you're saying. I'm just going to put a few disclaimers out because you shared a lot. So for those that was listening about his friend who made a lot of money with Bitcoin, Again, do your research because the market goes up and down. I'm in Bitcoin mining, which is a little bit steadier, not as dependent on the market fluctuation. But again, you have to do your own research. If someone is listening and would like information about Bitcoin mining, feel free to connect with me. Again, everyone's everything that we share today is personal opinion based upon our experience. It might not, just like you may profit from the sale of the NFTs that you invested in. The market changes all the time. So everyone, when you are investing, be willing to lose what you invest. Never put any funds in that you depend on, because again, this is a risky area. Yes, there is gain, but there can be also loss. So again, with that, I just want to put that disclaimer out. However, now let's talk about the fun stuff, marketing. So I love the fact that you have combined your business knowledge, your marketing skills onto a whole, what's not really a new platform, but for many people it's new. They get involved, like I created an NFT and then I had no clue on how to market it. It just sat there on OpenSea, even though one of my NFTs did sell without me marketing it because people, I guess, found it. However, there are so many great NFT artists out there. So how do they find you? And then share more about, the type of, we were talking offline that you have a class, a course and you consult with the NFT artists. So why don't you go ahead and expand a little bit more about how you help someone who wants to onboard with you?
Yeah. And I agree, by the way, do your own research, everything. I say also is something like I've just personally experienced. So
yeah,
that's that. And then as far as how people find me, typically it's on Twitter. And then, I do a lot of, I go on a lot of podcasts and shows as well. So over the next 30 days, I'm booked for about 70 podcasts. And so there's a lot of that. That's a lot of times people find me from those. Sometimes people find me from like articles, like I had from entrepreneur.com. I had a lot of people coming from that. But then as far as the program, it's really a program where anyone with any knowledge in marketing who is obviously passionate enough and committed enough to want to sell out their NFT project, they can come in and learn all the steps required to sell out their NFTs. So there are a bunch of different, I guess, pieces into this. So there is the paid advertising side of things. So I'll show them how to run ads on YouTube, Google, Facebook, Instagram, Quora, Reddit, Twitter. So all those platforms. And then I'll also show them how to organize influencers, how to contact them, how to actually work with them so you get a lot of value. And then, so that's the influencer side of things. So influencer marketing. And then also there are a lot of things change during the time that they're launching. So they need a group of people who are also going the same direction, so they can help them with answering some of those questions that they may have as they're going through their launch, their marketing it. So just recently, we just had a new actually token. So it's a ERC 721A. It's actually done, I believe it was created by one of the top NFT projects. I think it's Azuki, if I'm not mistaken. And so the benefit of that is that now the gas fees are going to be lower if someone's using that for their NFT. And so there are so many things happening, that if you are not updated, you just miss out on those opportunities. So for example, another one is like OpenSea right now. They're actually investing in NFT projects themselves. So if you have an NFT project, you can actually apply to use their funding for your NFT project. So that's really cool. But if you don't know these things, then you miss out. And also there are certain things that happens, like for example, as the war with Ukraine happened, right? So how is that going to impact NFTs? How is that going to impact crypto? So you need some people around you, an advisor around you, to tell you, be like, hey, this is what you should be doing during these times. as opposed to just freak out and not know what to do. And so that's really the premise of the group side of things. So we have these 2 group calls every week. In the future, I may add to it too, but right now it's just 2 group calls every week. And then people come in, ask all questions they have. We have questions from, how to run specific, let's say, offers, specific, let's say, videos that they have as an ad, all the way to, hey, for example, should they push the project a few weeks later because the market right now is kind of, slow, or should, like, let's say we had someone join the course. Literally first day they told me they said they have their mint day coming up in 2 days, but they don't think they're going to be successful. Now what should they do? Right. So
I'm going to interrupt you because there might be individuals that are familiar with NFTs and terminology and those that might not. Can you explain to NFTs. Those that are listening, what does minting mean?
Oh, cool. So basically buying NFTs at an earlier date, and typically that happens from the website that you have. It could be from Launchpad as well, but 99% of the time is from your website. If someone comes in and buys your NFT from your website, which is going to be the primary market, then it's called minting. So that's what minting is. Now, maybe I just explain primary and secondary market too, just for people who want to understand that. Yeah. So primary market is essentially, typically I draw this for people, but if you think about when you have your art, then you start showing it to people, and then you build your community, you build your Discord, you build your Twitter, and also you may be having like having to expand your team, have like a developer, have someone work on your smart contracts, so on and so forth. So all of these things that you're doing are preparation for building a community so then they can buy NFTs at a pre-sale, meaning they kind of know what they're buying. Like they have seen some of the artwork, but they don't know exactly which artwork they're gonna get. And so what happens is on a whitelist day or pre-sale day, and then also on a public sale, so everyone comes in, buys the NFT, so they connect their wallet to a specific website of the project, and then they buy the NFT. And then a few days later, typically I advise people to do this 5 days later. 5 days later, the NFT project reveals what they bought. And so the concept is and this is similar, I don't know if maybe in real estate as well, like, you sometimes you just buy something, you just see the floor plan, and then let's say in a year or two, you actually see the actual place, right? So it's a very similar concept. So that's how you buy the NFTs. Now, past the reveal date, if you go on OpenSea or Magic Eden or any marketplace and buy the NFTs from those marketplaces, then that's considered secondary market. So primary market is all the way from the beginning of your journey in marketing your NFT all the way to the reveal date is called a primary market. And then anything, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is that an NFT artist would have a separate website that would have a generic NFT that someone would buy, and then they would find out specifically the NFT after the reveal date. So how is that primary website, how is that connected to a wallet? I mean, how is it connected to OpenSea, or how is it connected to some of these other platforms? Is there like, I know like there's PancakeSwap. How do they navigate that, the technical side of it?
The connection is the smart contract. So that's what everything is connected to. And then the smart contract is a contract that's built on the blockchain. So it depends on what blockchain we're talking about. Typically, NFTs are built on Ethereum. Now we're getting a lot of people building their NFTs on the Solana blockchain. I've seen probably out of the 400, I've probably seen one XRP, maybe one that was something else also, but the rest of them are Solana and Ethereum. I would say 80%, 90% on are Ethereum, and then like maybe 10, 15% are Solana, and then the rest of them is just, other things.
So when someone is going to an NFT website to look at some of these pre-sales, then they're going to need to know how to connect their wallet to their personal wallet to the wallet that's associated with the website, the NFT website. So they're going to need to know which token or coin, cryptocurrency, is associated there. Otherwise, they might not be able to purchase. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly the case. Now, what I'm advising a lot of from the marketing side of things, I'm advising a lot of brands to even like create videos, create PDFs on how to actually mint, how to buy NFTs from them, because sometimes it's difficult, right? And actually, some of the new projects that I've been working on, we've actually made it so that they can people can use their credit card as well to buy NFTs. And in the back end, the conversion happens, so it gets deducted from the smart contract. So there are companies, the companies literally right now, they're offering a kind of like a middle man type of thing where
like
they come in.
It's a point of sale.
Yeah. And so that's really cool, because now a lot of times, especially if you market your project on Instagram, for example, or TikTok, you're going to get a lot of newbies and people who don't know anything about NFTs, nor do they know much about cryptos. And so what happens is they may come in, they're like, hey, I'm excited about the project, but I don't know what to do. And the time is ticking, right? So maybe on the public sale, maybe it's just going to take maybe 24 hours, if ever. And they may not know. I mean, they've got kids, they've got like their job, they've got so many things to do, right? So they may not know how to actually connect their wallet and buy the NFTs. And so we're trying to solve that problem by just saying, hey, just like how you've always used your credit card, let's say on Amazon, and bought things online, now you can do that same thing with NFTs as well.
So a question on that then. So there's being a lawyer, being an educator, I'm always trying to break up the process. You have the creator side, you have the art now on the website, you have the customer who needs to understand how to do the wallet and or use a credit card. So once they buy that NFT, now the question is, granted, they're going to get the reveal soon, but where do they keep that NFT? Again, for a customer, it's not like you can bring an art. I'm looking at the art that's on my wall at home and just hang it on the wall. So where would someone keep that special NFT?
Yeah, so this is a great question. So NFT is just going to be on your wallet now. Okay, so now it's connected to your wallet. So let's say if you bought it from OpenSea, then if you connect your wallet to OpenSea, then you're going to be able to actually see what NFTs you hold. And then actually other people will be able to see, if they know your wallet address, they'll be able to see what NFTs you hold as well. Now, so here's the important part for newbies. That is, if you have NFTs that are just worth, maybe $20, $50, maybe you don't care as much, but there are NFTs, like for example, NFTs I hold that are like 50K, 60K, right? So I would never leave it on a cold wallet. So I will have it transferred into a hot wallet where it's not connected to the internet. It's less likely to get broken into. And so it's important to keep it. Like, I'm talking actually from experience. So I lost about 100K. One time I connected my wallet. So I had a bunch of things on a hot wallet. And just for your listeners, also the hot wallet and cold wallet. So cold wallet is like a physical device that is not connected to the internet, not connected to Wi-Fi, nothing. So there's no connection. So no one can actually break into it. And then it has a seed, typically anywhere from 12 to 24 words. Depends on what device you buy too. But so there's that. That's how you basically, that's like and then there's also a password. And if you get the password wrong bunch of times, it's completely like useless. It's all gone. But so what I and then the hot wallet is actually the wallet that you have connected, let's say maybe on a browser extension or on your phone, that's the one that you're working with on a daily basis. So typically you just don't want to have a lot of money in it. You want to have cryptos in it or NFTs in it when you need it, when you need to actually transfer them, or when you need to sell them or buy NFTs. That's when you have any funds in your wallet, in your hot wallet. If you don't, it's better not to keep it there because it's scary. So what happened to my wallet was I was actually gonna buy some land from Decentraland in the metaverse. I already had a ton on Sandbox. And then this was actually a specific wallet that had a lot of lands from Sandbox. So it was almost worth of 100K land from Sandbox. And then I was going to put it in the same wallet, of course. So it's just like another piece of land from the metaverse. Of course, that was stupid. And so what I did was like, I went on Google and I searched Decentraland. I wanted to buy from the website itself. And then there is decentraland.org and decentraland.com. So one of them is fake. And I obviously did not. And the one that came up first on search was the one I clicked on because I didn't even think about the possibility of a website that's fake to be so high up with their SEO being so good, to be so high up on my browser. It just did not occur to me at all. I've never heard that before up until that moment. And so website comes in, I click on it. I've seen Decentraland website before, and of course they made it exactly look identical to what it should look like. And then so it didn't, and then so I didn't really look to see the ending part of the Decentraland, right? So
what is the real one?
Actually, I don't know. They should actually be very sure about like which one it is. Yeah. I can't remember, to be honest. And so, but one of them is fake. And then what happened was, so I went there, and then it asked me to connect my wallet, obviously, to buy the land. So I connected my wallet, and then literally in seconds, I just looked at so I clicked on so this is a MetaMask wallet, the browser extension. So I clicked on the browser extension again, as like literally a second after I connected my wallet, and I saw like it was reading like $2 in my wallet, and I couldn't believe it because I was like, I obviously don't have $2 in this. So I just started clicking on it because I was like, this is not real. Like, and I think for like 2-3 minutes I was literally clicking because I couldn't believe it. And then I saw like the $2 was just like stayed there, right? So and then I called my sister. I was like, hey, I don't know what just happened. Can you go check I didn't even want to check it myself. Like, can you go check on OpenSea, see if I've got any NFTs first, and then if I've got anything in my wallet, and just go check it right now. And then she goes and she's like, someone just took it. And then, so we saw it, it went through so it went from my wallet to someone else's wallet. Everything got transferred, literally in seconds. And then we checked that guy's or gal's wallet, and he had in that minute, he had about 400K or so that he got into his wallet. And then he was obviously transferring it outside that wallet too. Now I had I already worked in cybersecurity for some time. And so I had a lot of connections that, I reached out to, but they were all like, just ignore it. A lot of people were telling me like, if you've been in crypto and NFT, and if you haven't had at least 100K stolen or drained, you haven't been there long enough. So I was like, okay, fair enough, just letting it go.
Well, it's always good to let things go, but I guess I'm like a pit bull and I don't let things like that go. I usually try to at least research, and then I don't want to say blacklist because you really can't, put someone on not a good list. But again, it's from the perspective that again, alerting people like you all have about the fact that there are scammers out there that are going to try to recreate areas that you need to be careful. And as we get more comfortable in this space, sometimes we let our guard down because we're very cautious when we first start because
Yeah.
we just don't know. And
Yeah.
as we get more comfortable, we think, okay, well, that looks right, and again, for anyone that's listening, take your time. I know I personally won't do any sort of crypto transactions at night because if I'm tired, I'm not
Yeah.
going to be as thorough as I am in the morning. And you're right, a little bit of a slip, and then all of a sudden, small amounts that could be gone.
Yeah.
So that's why I do agree with you. It's really important to have advisors on a team who are knowledgeable like yourself, as to the ins and outs. There are always things that we're learning about this blockchain and about this community. And there might be mistakes that are made, but having someone who's already experienced certain things will make it better from the perspective that you're going to be more cautious as you advise people as to what they should do or should not do. Now, whether they take your advice, that's another whole thing. But I think that those lessons make you a better counselor and advisor to your clients. So you mentioned the ERC 721A.
Yeah.
So what is that exactly?
Yeah, so typically what people use is, well, at least up until maybe last week, most people used was 721. And then there's another one too. I can't remember the name right now, but there are two of them for on Ethereum blockchain that people use. Maybe 720, I'm not sure. But anyways, so those are the two that people use. But the problem with Ethereum blockchain and the problem with just the 721, not the 8 version, was that gas fees were high. So just give people some context. You could be buying a NFT for, let's say, $30, and you could be paying $100 for gas fees.
Yeah.
And so it's obviously, it just is an obstacle for someone who's buying NFTs, but also as an NFT seller, as an NFT creator, it just makes it hard for people to buy from you. And so that's why a lot of people gravitate toward other blockchains like Solana or even different marketplaces where there's no gas fee. I believe Mintable doesn't have any gas fees, if I'm not mistaken. And so the point of the 721A is literally just reducing gas fees. Now, I know this for a fact that if you have a really good developer, you can actually optimize your contract to get lower gas fees anyways, without even changing to the 721A. And so there's it just really comes down to like how technical your team or your resources are. One of the other things like you could do, like there's so many things with the smart contract. I don't know how much like maybe you talk on your shows about smart contracts, but
we can definitely do another episode about smart contracts,
yeah,
and how that works, because there's a lot of technical things that we're talking about here. And you're right. There's it's like going down a rabbit hole of information.
yeah, it is. And then and also I'm more so focused on the marketing side of things, so not so focused on all the little pieces into the how the smart contract is developed. But it's very important, and certain things I know. For example, like let's say as an NFT brand, if you're giving away NFTs, you can make it so that on your smart contract, whoever gets those free NFTs, they cannot list it until 90 days after your, let's say, public sale. So you can actually code that into your contract, which is really important. And I tell you why. So let's say I buy free NFT from you, or I guess I get a free NFT from you. And then if I don't believe in your project, and if I just wanted to have a free NFT from anyone, then my first actionable step is to list it and sell it, right? So I would sell it for the floor price. Now, floor price, for people who don't know what that is, that's the smallest price on the marketplace that you can buy the NFT from a specific project. So
Now,
let's
what
say
about the, when you get a free NFT, you're still paying the gas fee though?
you used to pay the gas fee.
Yeah.
And then, but then you still, let's say you get a free NFT and then you list it for, let's say 0.2, 0.1, right? So you still make money. And then what happens is, so as a flipper of the NFT, you're profiting, which is cool because you bought something for free. And then now you're just listing it for a specific dollar amount. So that's fine. But as for the NFT creator, that's trouble for you, because if everyone lists their NFTs, the floor price just drops. And in fact, those kind of people who don't care so much about your project, they list your project at typically lower floor price than even what's out there, because they just want to get rid of it.
But
right?
don't you, as an NFT owner, don't you also have built in the fact that they're a royalty? So you could have a residual from that resale.
Okay, so this is actually really important point, because past the sellout, so everything we do up until sellout is just like, okay, hyping it up, maybe building communities or that are organized to just actually buy NFTs from you. But then once that's done, then the name of the game is raising your floor price. So you don't want your floor price to go down. Now, if the floor price goes down, the problem is, even if you have royalties, not many people are going to buy your NFTs. They're going to look at that and they're going to say, there's no point. So the volume of trading will go down. So then the royalties will also, don't matter as much, because if no one's going to trade, then it doesn't matter how much royalty, even if you have 100% royalties, it doesn't matter, right? So that's the problem with, and just to give people context, like I bought this NFT for, I believe it was 0.4 or 0.5 Ethereum. So that's at the current price, I want to say that's about $1,000, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then, so I bought it at that price point because it was just doing so well. This project was doing so well. And then about a few days later, I looked at it and it was 0.001 or 0.01. So if that was the floor price, right? So if the floor price goes low that much, then no one's going to buy into this project. So no one's going to care to trade this project.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to sell it at the lowest they can, get rid of it, and just move on.
So basically they're going to dump it.
Exactly. And then, so as the creator, you don't make much money. And then also that project will bomb. Like it's really hard at that point to get it back. Now,
and I do want to interrupt just for a second. So for those that have never, ever created an NFT, that, this is, you were talking about art. We're not talking about the music side. We're not talking about maybe business branding. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into creating a visual, that goes into uploading and things like that. So this is definitely business development and thinking about it. It's not like when I upload to my OpenSea account. Yeah, it takes time for me to, create an NFT, but you're talking about major projects that really have a lot of thought behind them, and a lot of beautiful art, and just messages and things like that. So it is important for those that are listening to see this as you don't want to have it dumped, because then the value of the time that someone else in the team put in is not recognized, and there's not a return on their time. So
yeah. And also it's their money as well. So typically it's somewhere around just 60K just for marketing a NFT project, right? And then on top of that, you got to pay for contract, you got to pay for someone who's managing your Discord, someone's managing your Twitter. So somewhere around, let's say 100K, 200K is a spend, right? So, and you spend that in a matter of, let's say, a month or two. And so for someone to just say, oh, whatever happened to my project, it's very rare. not many people will do that. They're very this is like their baby. Like this
Yeah.
is their this is something they want to protect, and then hopefully they actually want to work with this same project that they created for rest of their life actually. And so not just moving on to other projects. I've heard this from some founders where they're like, it's hard to raise the floor price, so let's just like create another one. And of course it makes, I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it's a logical thinking in there, because every time you do a every time you do a sellout, you make, at least between the projects that I worked with, they made minimum $500,000. And so, and some of them, make 5 million, 6 million, 10 millions. And so for them to just say, hey, let's just do another one of these, that kind of makes sense logically. But as far as sustainability and also just the stability of your business, and I really say business because NFT is not just like a hobby, it's an actual business.
Yes, it is.
And so stability of your business, you do want to have just one project that you're doing really well with, and then maybe venturing into the new one, versus have like 6 or 7 that are just kind of mediocre, because then it's just really hard to manage. And even one is not easy to manage. And so not that people should go for easy or difficult things, but just so they have an understanding of that, it takes a team, it literally takes a village to actually like pull a sellout. And so once that happens, then they're going to do everything they can to raise the floor price, so the volume is going to stay high for the rest of their life. And then they get the, anywhere from 3 to 10% royalties. And then, there's a lot of other things that could happen with that too. So a lot of collaborations, a lot of, let's say, celebrities could buy into the project. So many other cool things could happen, but that's basically the mindset, is that, hey, this is not something just we're going to do for a month.
So let me ask you a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
The clients that are, I mean, we have a lot of different types of listeners, those that are not NFT creators, those that are NFT creators, those that are thinking about getting into being an NFT creator. Who are the type of clients that maybe should think about taking your course or approaching you as a consultant? Because again, as much as I would love to have you consult with me on my NFTs, I know that they're just not there yet. I'm a dabbler in it. But who are you looking at to support? And I know you're open to helping everyone, but I know there's a niche. So who's your niche?
Yeah. So a lot of times, I like to categorize projects with their marketing budget, really. And so let's say if your marketing budget is 60K plus, I like them to start with my program. Then later on, if they wanted to, like, I can be their chief marketing officer, take over the entire marketing. But I like them to start with my program, because I already have enough people coming to me where I have an interest in people selling out versus just like take people money. So if they take my program, then they will be able to have more money to put into their own project versus paying me, right? And then for people who have, let's say, 100K plus a marketing budget, those are the type of people I take over the marketing myself. So as a chief marketing officer, I'll just manage the whole thing. And then there's some people who have, maybe $5,000, $10,000 marketing budget. So for them, what I like them to do is, first of all, not go for a 10,000 collection size, because it doesn't make sense. What I like them to do is to do a very small project, maybe 100 or maybe 500 collection size.
More exclusive.
And then make money from that. So now that you have the budget, next time you can do a larger collection size. Okay.
Yeah.
And then for them, I have plenty of content online. So even on NFTs.io, I publish case studies. I literally show people how I've done the sellouts that I've done. And so they can just read it and do it themselves. They don't need to have necessarily someone to do it for them or teach them how to do it. So for that period of time where they have like a smaller collection size, they can just use that, sell out. And then once they sold out and they want to do a larger thing, then they can come in, and happy to have them on my program.
So I'm listening to everything, and I'm thinking back on everything that we've covered over this time period, and we've gone deep into so much. I know that we're going to have more conversations because this is an evolving space. So for everyone who is listening, definitely remember to go back to the blog below so you can connect with Arvin. I myself personally, I'm happy to consult with you, not on the NFT side, but on organizing your information from the cryptos and the wealth organizer side, because being an attorney, an educator, and a mom, I realize that a lot of people don't have a will. They don't have an estate plan, and their families don't know how to access their wallets and things like that. In a case of emergency, that's where I, think that everyone needs to know. And so I created an e-organizer. I'll have the Amazon link below, that makes it really easy. So that way you can organize your information. But again, Arvin has mentioned a lot of great things. You need a team of people when you're in this space and you're doing this as a business. But even when you're not doing this as a business, when you're just doing it as an individual and you're kind of dabbling, like we said, there is risks involved. You need to educate yourself, and education is critical no matter where you get it. There are definitely free platforms where you can get educated, and then you can also pay for your education too. But either way, do the research, make sure that you have some knowledge, because this is a remarkable space. What we see now, like we did 20 years ago or even more when the internet first started, the blockchain Web3, it's in 5-10 years, it's going to be so different. And there's so much that's been evolving just in the last 3 years that I've seen. So any last minute thoughts, Arvin, before we sign off? Because I know you and I are going to be talking again.
Cool. If people want to find me on all socials, Arvin K NFT. So that's ARVIN K NFT.
Yep.
And then on Twitter, I'm most responsive. I have plenty of content on there as well. And then case studies I mentioned, that's soldoutnfts.io. So that's SOLD NFTs.io. So soldoutnfts.io. And on the case study side of things, it's available to everyone. They can just like publicly share it, so they can go really check out like, okay, how did we do the marketing? What platforms did we use? Did we do ads? Did we do paid influencers? So on and so forth. They can learn it. They can do it themselves as well.
So, everyone, Arvin is a great resource. Definitely reach out and connect with him. Thank you, everyone. Definitely like and subscribe. This has been a really rich episode of information. And as I mentioned to everyone, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We're all one world and we're so interconnected. So thank you and have a great day. Bye, guys.